Hello, this is the illustrator, I guess, and I'm making this so that I can be more motivated to continue to draw every day. So I'll just flip through what I've done so far. It's barely legible and not very, very good. Now I'm using this book here as my main guide to drawing. I don't think I can show anything in it because copyright, but I've been practicing almost every day now, just doing random stuff. I'm kind of bad with angles. This is supposed to be a pistachio, believe it or not. And here we have, this is the best one I've done so far, this pen here, or mechanical pencil. It's based off the mechanical ones I use. This one I scribbled out because I didn't like how it was going. Here I have a little bit better formed shapes, especially this triangle here. It's pretty okay. This is supposed to be a front lit sphere. However, I'm not very good at shading yet. And then this one was supposed to be a switch remote. This one was interesting because I couldn't look at it. I started drawing it and then I had to leave. So I had to use a mental image, and that didn't go very well. Trying to get the rounded here, trying to make it look as if it was a rounded edge, and I don't really know how to do that. And of course the buttons are all garbage. This one is a little bamboo tree that I drew while at my aunt's house for this Easter. This the plant didn't look like this. It's actually significantly smaller with a lot more individual strands coming out, but this one turned out okay, I guess you could say. And then this was me trying to draw a strawberry using the techniques from this book. Obviously I'm not good enough in order to do that yet. Now here I got the flower section of this book, and so I wanted to, try drawing the flowers. Obviously it didn't really turn out too well. Tried drawing this flower, it didn't work out. I'd redrew this 50 different times, trying to make it look at least half decent. These ones were trying to base it off of a poppy. Didn't work out as well as I wanted to either. Here I tried to do leaves, just so I could, maybe get a leaf down before I even started on a flower, and this looks more like a feather. It's not very good. And this one, I tried using another technique from this book, and it's kind of bad. I think I know what I'm doing wrong here, especially with this one, because I have too many lines on it. There's just too much going on here when I need to subtract more and have some negative space that you can fill in with your mind. Now, today I'm wanting to draw a toilet paper roll, or the cardboard from a toilet paper roll. So I kind of have a ceiling lit thing, so I'm going to be looking at it from around this angle, I guess, and I'm going to prop my phone up on a paper towel roll so that way I can record myself while I'm drawing, just so I can look back at my previous drawings and techniques. You can't really see too well, but I'm going to draw on this half anyways, which is, all that really matters. Now, starting out that book, it taught me to something I kind of already knew-ish, which is to start with basic shapes. So you just start out with a cylinder from the toilet paper roll, and then you kind of go down. I messed up this angle here. Now I understand on the phone it's hard to see, so I'll make the lines thicker here. There we are. Now another thing this book taught me is to draw with the whole arm. So instead of just, doing as you would like calligraphy, where you would just draw with your index fingers and maybe your wrist, you got to draw with your elbow and your whole arm, so that way your drawings look a lot more loose and less static. I think I need to make that look better there. There we are. Now, the main thing that I want to focus on is, I guess, the shading of it, because, it's just a toilet paper roll, it's a cylinder. I could be like, oh, I'm done, it's a toilet paper roll, but, you would never know that from looking at it. So I need to, add in little details here so that you can tell it is a toilet paper roll and not just a random floating cylinder. Right? So here, let me try doing a little shading here. Now the book talks about the different grips of a pencil. Like, you have the obvious drawing one here, or writing one here. Then it says there's an underhanded one. I don't really find this one too comfortable. I personally prefer to have it be more resting on my finger here, kind of more like this, but I just loosen up my hand and I just kind of do that with it. I'm not sure if that's a specific technique that I forgot about, but it's one I use, and I also, I guess, like this, hold it back here if I'm going at an angle like this, so I can get that shading in. Now this one's lit from the kind of just straight up, so there's not really too many shadows for me to kind of draw in here, just darker parts. I want to get a lamp that I can have direct stuff so I can draw shadows better. However, currently I'm not going to do that. Now, I only have HB lead currently. Like, I need to get some softer and harder leads, but currently I'm just using the normal HB lead without anything special or fancy here. I'm just varying my pressure whenever I'm shading here, so I can give it a, semblance of depth at least. Now I'm not sure how I can, it's kind of a flat color on the inside there, it's just darker than the outside, and I'm not sure really how to convey a little bit more depth to it. Maybe if I do a little gap between that and the next line, it'll be better, and then reduce that as it comes down. It's not too bad. Now then, something I like to do is draw in the negative for the light parts. like on here on this previous one, I'll show kind of what I'm talking about. On specifically this one, I guess here is a good example how it's lighter here, and then I have, I just didn't draw here, or I erased it. What I did is I just drew all the way up, and then I took an eraser on the back of this one, or one of these, and then I just like went like this across it on certain spots, and then did a little U here to make it look like it's rounded. But that's what I did for that one. Now then, this one I'm not too sure. There's not really any highlighted spots, so I'm just gonna try and get this shadow down that I can see from here, from this angle. It's just a little tiny shadow coming out from here. Just a tiny little shadow that I can maybe make it look like it's being lit from somewhere. Now I know I could just kind of faux the lighting and do something here that can make it look half decent. It's just if you looked at it right now, you wouldn't really be able to tell that it's a toilet paper roll, right? I mean, maybe you could if you looked at it hard enough, like that pistachio. I think drawing it sideways is better for shading, so I'll try and do that as well. I'll show what it looks like from this angle here. That's what I'm trying to replicate, so we'll see if I'm capable of that. Not very good at drawing straight lines, although the drawing with the whole arm I find generally does help with keeping the lines straighter. If I use my whole shoulder, it is a little bit easier. This one I can't really tell where the line starts from. It kind of goes down from here, and then you only actually start seeing it here. Like that, and then I have a little crack going through it like that, so we'll have to show that somehow. And now I find shading cylinders to be the easiest, because you just kind of shade the bottom super dark, and then you just lighten your shade all the way up till you get to the middle, or where it's the brightest, which I find usually is around here on this lighting. And then I just make it dark around the edges again, and then you draw in a little shadow underneath, just as darker than the top here, or as dark. The only issue is keeping the lines so it doesn't just look like there's a weird blurry mess here, is the hard part. You just have kind of a light band that you don't touch across here to show that this is either where the light's coming from or, stuff along those lines. The hardest part is going to be showing the lines coming across it like this. I guess just doing that's good enough. And then the little crease that is here that kind of goes like, if I just kind of do a little interesting scribble like that, and then it's a lot lighter above it than it is below, so I'm gonna shade this a little differently. I think I'll shade it a little heavier here on this side where this crease is, and then a little lighter on the top side. I'm not sure about that, but it looks okay. Let me try and finish how this looks by just doing it super light. And kind of lightly erasing it maybe. That's good enough, I guess. Now I'll try and do the shadow here. And the shadow kind of cuts off directly at the edges because mine is entirely lit from the top. Sometimes what I do for my shadows is I draw an outline of where I think the shadow will be, and then I just fill in that shadow, or fill in that guideline that I have with shading of the appropriate amount. And then I guess another good thing to do is lighten up on the shading as you get away from the shadow, even though that's not really how it is in real life. It's just a flat texture, but when drawing it makes it look a lot more natural somehow. Now, that one's not too bad, I guess. I just want to make this line here more prominent as an edge line, because like I said before, it's kind of melding into one piece at the bottom here, and you want it to be a cut off of the object and then into the shadow of the object, but I'm not very good at that. Well, does that look like a toilet paper roll to you? I'm not sure. Well, that's at least what I'm going to record for today. Again, I'm doing this so I can record my progress and have little video snippets of, how I do things, so I can look back, look at my technique, and see what I'm doing right or wrong. So there we go. We got what I was trying to draw, or what I was drawing, and then what I was trying to draw is this. Not the best. And then from this one, which was, I believe, like, what was this one like? I think it was like this one. Something along those lines. Well, there we are.